try and make a little video here. We're going to make it, there's no frills added to this. It's how we actually make a living, lobster fishing. As you can see, the time is 20 past 4 this morning. I'm usually up at 4, but Stefan's going to do the recording, so he was stayed with us overnight. We're going to try and explain to you people that are sitting in the museum now watching this, the eggs on the lobster and how long they're on, type of thing, what lobster looks like when we haul the traps. You'll be actually out in the boat with us while you're watching this, and we'll be explaining all the details, hydraulics, you know, how the traps are hauled, and you'll be able to see the whole thing. So what we're going to do now, we're going to sign off for now. We're going to go to the shore in about 10 minutes, and we'll put her back on and show you the boat and the bait we get ready to put in the traps and what the bait is, and the equipment on the boat and that type of thing.
You're one of the first fishermen here this morning.
You can walk closer, Stefan, and here we are. Here we are aboard the Silver Wave, and we're just getting our bait ready for today. We've got some mackerel. Cut them in two. We buy them from the company. These are mackerel. Usually it's herring at the first of the year because it's the little perch. They're not as bad, but right now little perch are eating a lot of the bait and you get a harder bait. You buy them from the company and they're around 65, 70 cents a pound. You go through around 300 pounds a day. So you have to catch some lobster to pay for that. But anyway, this is our boat. Fishing out of this harbor, there's about 35 boats, and we started going out around this time, and within a half hour, I think they'll all be out probably. We all run diesel motors. Years ago it was all gas, and now it's all diesel. More economical, more safety to it. Gasoline was kind of dangerous with the old fuel pump leaking by times on top of your motor and that type of thing. But the odd guy showing up, and like I say, we're usually one of the first boats out, just kind of like to be out there first and get the job done. So if you want to come up in the cabin, we'll show you this is my brother Keith. I didn't introduce you, I guess.
Hi.
He's been with me for about 30 some years now, and I own the gear, and I hire him every spring to come. Come on up here, we'll introduce you to electronics. This here's our colored sounder everybody has one. It shows the bottom, depth of water, temperature of the water. VHF radios, just a GPS over here. GPS is like a little computer there. You can go out in a very thick fog once you got your coordinates entered in for your gears, and you can find all your lobster gear with no problem. Years ago, you couldn't do that. Technology has improved vastly over the years, and sometimes you wonder if it's not too much. Years ago, lobsters could hide a bit. You couldn't find the ledges and that, certain rocks where they could hide and that type of thing. But now, sad to say, we can find them anywhere with our equipment. So we're starting down the bay, Rustico Bay, which has been in the fishing industry since the 1800s, I guess. And the past our lighthouse is over 100 years old down below. Put a mile down, I guess. So we're just going to carry on, and Stefan will keep shooting and show you the sights.
Okay.
see very much. It's still a bit dark, but we'll show you a bit, and then when it lightens up, we'll show you quite a bit more about it. These are only in about 19 feet of water.
Anyway, back
You can walk up to it.
there. Okay.
Just thinking years ago how the old fishermen used it. Well, they had small little boats, I'd say about 28 feet. They had no haulers, and they used to set. There was no trap limits. They had 1,800 traps. And my goodness, however they set all them in them little boats and hauled them by hand. When I fished with my uncle in the 60s, there was no trap limit. Of course, we had what they called a kind of a gurney on the back of the boat. It would run off of the main motor, and you just put in gear with a lever and a turn, and you put three turns of rope on it, and then you kept pulling on it, and your trap would come off. But you had to be awfully careful, because if one coil got underneath, the whole thing kept going around, and my gosh, you got in a mess. But I have never experienced hauling by hand. Well, we'd never be able to do it with the size of the boats today. Possibly in those days, the smaller boats, they'd haul and then drop the traps over one side with the tide to keep the boat going, and they picked them and put that trap over, and they were all tied on the line. There were 50 to a line. So it evolved a long ways, lobsters, and fishermen got together with DFO, and they talked about reducing the number of traps. That's the first one, 38 trawls, we call them. Those traps are all built during the winter. We buy our material from the company that you fish for, or you can buy them in Charlottetown IMP, where they carry a lot of stuff. They don't carry the wood, but they carry the twine and all that. And they're full of cement. We build them new in the spring. We bring them to shore, and we get a cement truck, and we pour cement in them for the weight to hold them on the bottom. They weigh about 85 pounds right now. Very heavy. The worst part of this is when the season's over in about a week's time, they have to be thrown out the boat by hand. Boy, there's 150 of them stacked on the boat, all individual traps. You've got to be fired up in the wharf, and that's a backbreaking job, I tell you, boy. That's a heavy job. That's really one of the worst parts. Setting day is kind of hard too, because you got a big load on the boat, and you have your man in the back, actually two men setting, and you got to be awful careful, because the captain can't see the men in the back at that time. You just go by yells, are you okay, that type of thing. But the rope's going over, the guy ever tangled his foot in it, he's gone. You can't, you got a load of traps, you can't maneuver, you can't do anything, so you have to be very careful. So we're going to set this off, each going to measure them. You can measure them, Keith, and those are, some of them are undersized, of course. Right now our size is from the eye to the back of the body. It's 2 and 22. Well, 2 and 5/8, we'll say, and 16 more, whatever that is. The size been going up for 4 years. But, to make a legal size to sell, you have to have that little weight out there. So we're going to set these off shortly.
Okay.
felt the best move would be to go down to 400 traps. Now, they had quite a bit of opposition from some fishermen, and one fisherman said, look, it's not a job anymore. 400 traps, I'll finish my fishing out with a white shirt and tie, which he did. He fished the rest of his life. He's gone, of course, now. But he fished the rest of his life with a white shirt and tie on. You'd see him hauling these traps, 400 traps. Now, 400 traps seemed to be doing good, but then when we got into it, I think our crew decided, you know, our fishermen now decided, why not 300? It seems to be working out good. So we went to 300, and we're still doing better than we did with 400 and better than we did when we had 800 or 1,000. You can look after them better. The expense is not so high, of course, 300 traps. You can bait them better. You know, when you get 1,600, 1,800 traps, there's always someone out bait you. Don't have time to place them right and that type of thing. Those, they go right to the bottom, of course, you sit on the bottom, and what we try and do right now is stay on the rock. There's a patch of rock around here, and you have to set a certain way. Everybody got to set a certain way when you're in a certain depth of water. This way we're setting pretty well north and south. If you set this way, everybody else that fishes here come and set and copy it that way, so you got to set a certain way. And they sit in the bottom and bait it up for tomorrow morning. Hopefully it'll catch a couple of. But over the years, you know, lobsters in the 1900s, apparently they used to wash ashore in windrows. There were so many of them. Farmers used to just spread them on the fields. And if kids went to school, I guess it'd be the late 1900s, in there somewhere. If kids went to school with a lobster sandwich, that was considered very, very poor food. You didn't have beef. Lobster was, well, it was a poor man's dish. Right now, it's a gourmet food, of course, and we all know around the world it commands a high price. But it's a good life, and you guys sitting now in this museum here and wondering maybe I'll buy a gear. Well, it's just got to be in your blood, though. You just can't go out and chuck traps over. Anyway, it's a closed fishery. What you have to do is buy someone out in a harbour if you're buying a gear, and then you'd have to be accepted in that harbour. There's some harbours just don't want any more gears coming in, you know, and they just won't allow any more gears coming in. There's some harbours more open that don't mind, I guess, but when you look at the thing, you get too many gears in the harbour, well, and then everybody goes down, and payments are hard to make, so you have to have controls. What we have now, like I say, is a very highly regulated fishery, which is good.
Oh, no kidding. Woo! Hold that up, Norman. Look what we got here.
We don't normally get these in our traps. These are what we call a dogfish, but they're a shark. See the horns on the back of them here.
Oh, jeez. That's huge.
It's actually a shark. It's a northern shark. They call it a sand shark.
My goodness.
Our season's from the last day of April until the last day of June. That's our season to fish with 300 traps. They're all tagged. The next season that opens is August and September. It's 2 months on the south side. Now, we don't, our license is no good over there. They have a different license, different season. The reason for that different season is the water temperature is different and they mold that different. So outside of that, I'm trying to think of anything more I could tell you about the lobster fishery that would help you, understand it more. Now, when you go to Fisherman's Wharf or St. Anne's or New Glasgow to eat lobster, you'll have an idea how they're caught, what they look like when they come out of the trap. So with that, people, I'm going to sign off, and I'm going to say, if you're traveling from far away, we wish you a very safe trip home, and we wish you a very pleasant stay on PEI among our Acadians. So with that, toodaloo.
Bye.
Might even put them in with the girls. Little part of it. Well, it turned out a beautiful day today.